Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of To Live and Buy in Los Angeles with me, Ben Bellac, co-host
Zac Goldsmith.
That's our guy. Now, you want to talk rising stars? Man, do we have a good one for you today. Today we have a very special guest who has been licensed in Los Angeles for a mere 2-ish years. And a few of his recent sale prices include 2 over $25 million, 1 over $35 million, and 1 over $47 million. Yesterday on his Instagram, I saw him post he sold something off market for $18 million. Zac, I hate you as much as I hate most Zacs.
Can you look this? Oh.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
I got to tell you, I've never met you before. He was so excited to have you on. And I see we're doing something else here an hour ago, and I see this guy walk in the office I've never seen on the phone, loud outfit. Looks like it looks like a complete maybe D-bag from Miami, this good-looking kid. I'm like, what is going on with this kid? And literally, like, speaking to you for 5 minutes, I'm like, I buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm into it.
You will buy it.
I bought it.
That's the point, yes.
That's the point of this episode. You will buy it.
Yes. So, Zac, you've been in LA for a few years.
And welcome to my team, by the way.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
What field were you working in before real estate?
So yeah, you're right. So I moved to the US about, it was actually in July 2019, which is about 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I studied biomedical engineering before I moved to LA. Mm-hmm. And that was in Malaysia and Singapore. And then I wasn't very excited because I chose that major because my mom always wanted me to become a doctor. Mm. And my dad wanted me to become an engineer.
Where's your mom from?
She's Persian. So I chose biomedical engineering to keep both of them happy.
İrani asti.
But I mean, it was so boring and I had to work in the lab. So I wasn't as excited. So I stopped and I started doing sales. In such a short time, I became the sales and marketing manager for Hilton Hotel. Mm-hmm. And then I moved to the US.
Why did you decide to move to Los Angeles?
Because of the weather.
Okay, I guess we should just stop asking that question.
I think that's why, my story, we moved here for the weather. We moved here for the weather. Phil had no choice.
So were you doing real estate like right when you got here?
No, it's so funny because I moved to the US with $5,000 in my pockets and I was renting my friend's couch for $500 a month.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's an expensive couch, man.
Yeah.
No.
But I had to, yeah.
Was this the cloud?
It was a cloud.
Yeah, okay. So you got off
It was a nice couch.
Well, so one of those stories, you came here with $5,000 in your pocket.
Yeah, so I used to catch 2 buses to go to work. I found the first job that I could get. I was doing marketing for a medical company. Mm-hmm. So I was making just $20 an hour. Mm-hmm. So I used to catch 2 buses to go to work, and then I stopped after 6 months, and I got into real estate.
Okay, it was just boring to you. And what was, and don't say I love houses. What was it that said I want to do real estate?
And you can say money.
That's what I wanted to say. Yeah. Yeah, because I would say I love people. So the reason that I chose real estate is because I love socializing with people, with the right people. Mm-hmm. So I love to talk to people and socialize with people. And I feel like if you are surrounded with the right people, you get energy from them, you get recharged. So this is my personality. I would love to do something that makes me happy every morning.
But I mean, you could have just been like a therapist.
That's true, but I don't make that much money.
So it's the people and the money. Me too, by the way. That was well put. I may take the transcript and use that for future interviews.
Wait, in a recent episode, you were saying that like a therapist is like $375 an hour, which is like that's a good living.
He does very well, but not as well as Zac does. So Zac and Zac, huh? We're in it for the right reason. I'm speaking to your microphone. Can you move that on that side?
Yes,
I feel like
sorry,
I'm singing into both mics, which I don't mind, but
I might
I'd rather
need
have a
it for
backup
sure,
Okay, so how was the beginning for you? What was the beginning of your? Well, wait, hold on. You didn't start at the agency, right? You were at another company.
So I started at Net Seekers. Mm-hmm. And so the day I got my license, they shut down all the offices because of the COVID. Mm-hmm. So that's how I started.
Where were they? They were here in Beverly Hills,
Yeah, in
New
Santa
York, and like Monaco maybe or somewhere?
They have like I think about 20 offices, but different. Yeah.
Is it? There's one in Santa Monica also. I think.
Oh, is there? They've opened
Yeah.
more since...
No, they don't have
They
in Santa
don't?
Monica. It's
Oh.
just
Okay.
only Beverly. Yeah.
Okay. I stand corrected. Okay, so you were there, and then like, what was the beginning like?
So the beginning was like, so I saw the offices, everything was shut down. Nobody could go to the office. And I was like, what's the best way for me to make money? How can I make money today? So I started asking agents, how do you guys do business? So they said you have to prospect, especially if you're a new agent, and especially if you don't have any friends or family. So, and I was like, what are the best
Here,
ways of...
any friends or family here?
Here,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
I just want to make sure everyone knew you.
I
weren't
do
like
have family,
Yeah.
and I
like
do
an
have a lot
orphan.
of friends.
Little orphan
most-
Zac.
most-
Yeah, no
most of us,
family, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I started by cold calling. It's so funny. One of my very first listing was on Rising Glen, 17, 18 Rising Glen. So I cold called this guy. His house was expired. And I cold called this guy, and he was bombarded with calls. And I spoke with him for 20 minutes. He calmed down. I drove to his
He
house.
calmed down.
Yeah. I drove to his house after a couple of hours, and I said, I'm just here to say hi to you. I spoke to you over the phone, and he was like, why did you do this? And I was like, I just want to do it as a respect.
This is Richard, I think. The house that Adam and his brother ended up renovating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the house. And he said, okay, so he said goodbye. I left. I came back after a week. He got into a car accident. And poor guy, he didn't have a car. He didn't have a rental on his policy. So I went and I did a full grocery shopping for him. And I dropped
my
it off
God.
at his house.
Hospitality driven.
I mean, I really
he lives in
wanted to
Doheny
help.
now, by the way. Yeah.
I really wanted to help him.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. I
He
didn't
doesn't need
expect
to, he doesn't need
anything.
to know that. He's not delivering those groceries
Yeah, just in
anymore,
case you
I
want to
can
take
tell
it
you
back. Okay, so, and by the way, you did not get that listing because it went back to the person who had it when it expired, and then Adam and his brother bought it and
That's right.
renovated it.
I think it was Lyndon Guy to be...
That's exactly
specific.
right. It was Linda, yeah. Linda and I think someone. Anyway, so, okay, so you're calling expireds, and was that like the only way that you were...
So that was how I started. I was just calling expired all day. I was doing it like for 6 hours a day. But it was not as exciting for me because I think it's better to be, I like to be face to face with people. So that works much better for me.
Yeah, so...
And
go ahead. Continue.
What works for me, maybe it doesn't work for you, or it doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah.
So you just have to find, I tried different ways. I tried letters. You just have to find out to see what works best for you.
But you were like, I'm sorry, wait, remember that question. I just want to tag
already
this one thing
forgot.
on it. Okay, but like you were relentless in that, like, because you said you were doing it for how many hours a day?
6 hours.
Yeah,
a day.
so like you were showing up to work.
Oh, yeah.
And and what do you think was driving you? Did you have like the strong why? It can't just be like the Rolex and the.
No, I didn't have the Rolex back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. What really I had no other choice because I stopped what I was doing and I got a big whiteboard and I was like, you're gonna sink or swim. So I went all in. So that's how I started.
I just want to say really quick, if you remember the one episode that we were talking about having a why, that there's pain involved. This is just one of those other examples where he said I had no choice because he was backed into a corner. He just went hard. There was no other option.
Right, we got deep into that. It wasn't about what you're attaining. It was about what you're
Avoiding.
losing.
Yeah, avoiding pain.
Right.
'Cause he came there
That's
with
the That's the real source of deep-seated motivation. What's really interesting to me here is you jumped in, really smart move to ask top agents what they do. And to get a general answer is prospecting, like, okay, F off kid, go prospect or whatever.
Yeah.
Where did you get the script? How did you determine what you were going to say to these people? Being new in town, not knowing the market, I mean, you must have studied the market also.
Oh, that was the first thing. So do you want to hear a funny story?
Yeah.
So when I was going to a gym,
You too?
this is a funny one.
Yeah.
Ready? So I signed up for the most expensive gym, the Equinox, the best that I got the destination membership. And I was telling everyone that I've been doing real estate for the last 3 years. I didn't even have my license.
Yeah, is the classic, yeah.
And I had my friend who was in Orange County. She was sending me properties because I had a client that he wanted to buy something. And I was changing my name and the picture from the email. and sending it to him. And the day I got my license, he bought something.
Amazing.
He bought a property.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah.
But so back to Zach's question, where did you like, was there a script that you got, or did someone say, hey, you should say this? Because like usually I feel like in an office, if someone were to say like, hey, I want to go door knocking, a lot of the people in the office will say, go talk to so-and-so, that's the prospector, or go talk to so-and-so, that guy works his sphere really well, or that one's a great caller. So where did you kind of get it?
I did lots of research when it was for cold calling. So I was just doing research for different. It was Tom Ferry, and it was Tom Ferry's brother. Was it his father?
His father,
dad,
His
Mike.
father, yes.
Mike Ferry,
So
yeah.
I just downloaded those scripts, and I was just trying and to see which one works best.
And you kind of cultivated it. You kind of like curtailed it. What's the word I'm looking
like
for?
found his
You
voice.
right. You found your voice. You kind of made it your own.
And I studied the market so well. So
Yeah.
I searched for every single house that sold in the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I studied why this sold for this much, price per square footage and everything. And I drove the neighborhood to just see every single one of them.
That's so smart. I do that a lot because sometimes when I see something on the computer or I see a spreadsheet, it doesn't register the same way.
Exactly.
So if I go drive and see it, then
Yeah.
all of a sudden the photographic memory kicks in.
Yeah, it's just another reason why the knowledge broker wins, particularly in our market now where people are looking for the calm in the storm and looking for reasoning, but particularly for pricing and demonstrating credibility. And what's funny is I have found, and I tell my team this, is that you can actually say like very little and get credibility, but to say very little, you kind of have to know a lot because
1000%.
you have to tap into it. But it's not like it doesn't have to be this long dissertation. Okay, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, no, just going back to how you developed that business, going back to the Rising Glen example, because you brought up a great point. You didn't get the listing. You showed up. You kept showing up. You delivered groceries.
And it's so funny because he sent me an email. He was like, Zach, tonight I'm signing a listing with an agent. And thank you so much for being so nice. And I'll see you. Hopefully you can bring a buyer. And I called him and I said, what time are you going to be home? He said 5 o'clock. I was like, just wait for me. I was at his house at 4:45. And I was like, let's go inside. Tell me what is that agent's going to do for you to sell your house. And I'm going to tell you that what I'm going to do that he's not going to do to sell your house.
Were you
and I got the
with
listing.
Linda? You were the guy with Linda on the listing.
No.
No.
It was
two
after
women.
Linda.
It was 2 women.
Oh, it was after Linda.
Yeah. So I get.
So he said no to me again, and I said, I'm not going to give up. I had no more choice. I had to get it.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. And I feel like because you said like, hey, I was doing it for 6 hours a day. How did you navigate that analysis paralysis that so many agents, particularly that are new to town, new to the business, and also who are frankly just younger on the planet, that they really struggle with and ultimately keeps them from ever being successful? Do you think it still was that really strong why that just you like, I have no time to be scared, I'm just going to thrust myself into this?
I think you're absolutely, that's what. Yeah.
Okay. Really interesting. Okay, so when you
It's less fear-based when you're that hungry.
Yeah.
you don't have time for it.
You don't have time. And that's what we should all learn from that is like if we could use more of our brains and not let that get in the way, how much more successful we'd all be.
Or how do you trick yourself if you're not in a live or die scenario like you were describing? How do we trick ourselves to feeling that?
Right.
To be our drive all the time.
Because it's true, because when you get to a certain point, then you've got an ego to go along with that.
And I still do the same thing. I always like to make myself uncomfortable. That's what makes me push my limits. Even right now, I can be very comfortable, but I make choices to make myself uncomfortable.
Like when you chose to sit next to Ben instead of me.
Yes, that's how it, yeah.
Super uncomfortable. But also, oftentimes the growth is on the other side of the discomfort because,
true.
and I feel like most salespeople, they know what they have to do, but they won't do it. And it's like that one thing on the other side of the discomfort that really leads
100%.
So you said you were like, I was cold calling for 6 hours a day, but I wanted to get in front of people, right?
Yes.
Which I understand.
Yeah.
He has an energy about him, certainly a salesmanship, a sophistication. And so
Maybe a difficulty in
So
accent
I
over
would
the
say-
phone. You got to be in front of people to really
true.
fully
a
get.
little fancy, but
It
so
is clear and
how did
fancy.
So when you say you need to get in front of people, it sounds like you really have two choices.
Yeah.
You can be socializing a lot with the right people, as you said
Yep.
earlier, or you could be going door to door.
Yeah, which I did door to door.
Okay, so you started segueing to door knocking.
Yes.
Okay, and were you door knocking in a neighborhood where you felt like, oh, this is a good place to get my feet wet? Or did you just like go to the best neighborhoods in town?
I went to the best neighborhoods in town.
Why?
Because I want to make more money. And I like nicer homes.
Yeah, that's why
and
I'm
they
here.
are easier to deal with.
They are easier to deal with because each dollar doesn't matter like so much, and they're not so
And
crazy.
lots of them, they have multiple properties. So it's not their only assets.
You know, it's funny. There was a great meme that was like circling around the internet where it says my like $50,000 client writes this long dissertation on like how you're gonna help me and my family and all this stuff, and then like the $1 million client's like wire sent, thanks.
Yeah.
Right. He's just smart enough to know I'm hiring the right person to do this job.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the thing is, it's not that I don't put the same amounts of attention on other listings. It's just that I try to focus more on the higher end. You know, I think that as an agent, you should have your own niche, and I want to have a niche of focusing on very, very high end homes.
Sure. I mean, but the thing is, those homes are like, as we're seeing right now, they're fluctuating in value a bit because of this market pullback a bit, and sometimes they can take a very long time to sell. Does that like give you pause at all, or is it because you prospect so much you're a little less nervous?
Yeah, so that's a great question, because I used to have one or two clients, and when the deal wasn't going through, my moods would go up and down.
Sure.
What's happening?
We've talked
But
a lot
I
about
started
that.
to have lots of eggs in my basket. So if that doesn't work, I have a lot to deal with. Yeah.
Okay, so there's actually a rumor, when we won't say the name because we're sure you've signed a non-disclosure, that you were out door knocking one day and a major A-list celebrity came to the door, and then probably I want to say from that moment, about 6 weeks later, that house was all over the news as being listed and subsequently quickly sold. Is that true?
Yeah.
What was it like having that major of a celebrity come to the door? Did your pitch change a little bit?
I mean, I knew whose house it was.
Okay.
That's why I knocked it. So before I knock on the doors, I know every single house, when they bought it, who owns it, and how long they've been living there. And I know all the neighbors. So, yeah.
So
And did this person come to the door? There are gates, obviously. A lot of people think with this
they
size
answered the
property, there's
intercom.
gates, there's security.
It was the intercom. Yeah.
And
I
what's
talked
the
to people on
line?
intercom.
The intercom, does that celebrity answer the intercom? Or
Yeah.
is that celebrity answer? You could tell by their voice.
Yeah.
Answered, and you're like, hi.
Hi, I said, hi, this is Zac, and I work with the agency, and I do have a client very interested in your house. Would you consider selling? And he said,
Oh my God.
no.
he said, come on down.
He said, no.
Oh, no.
He said, no. And I was like, is there any numbers that
Yeah.
would motivate you?
Love
and
it.
he said, let me think about it. But I did have a client for that house.
Sure.
And then he asked me, who's your client? I told him who my client is.
Is this all over the intercom?
over intercom.
And
Hell
you
yeah.
gave the name of your client, and this person knew
Yeah.
who your client was.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing.
Continue.
And then, we got the listing. I showed the house more than 10 times
But
Before
wait,
the listing.
before the listing.
But okay, fine. That's a good point too. But did this person ask you to come inside at some point?
Not on that day. He asked me to contact his business manager.
Did he really? That's fascinating.
Yeah, so it just goes
It
to show.
happened 3 times actually with 3 different A-list celebrities.
No way.
Yeah, so
Everyone will take a number, right? It's what we were saying
I
earlier.
mean,
If you came to me and you're like, "Hey, would you sell?" I'm not interested. Would you sell for 12 million? Sure, yeah.
But I
You can have the listing.
I think the biggest lesson here though is that he's not judging prospecting. He's not judging the hustle. He's like, I have a job to do. This is work. I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna put myself out there. And door knocking, when I started my career, I was door knocking because I came here not having family and friends because I'm not from LA. And it can be lonely. It's one thing to be like, I went door knocking today, but a month, 2 months in, you're out there and people are slamming the door. You get better at it, obviously, and your opens get better, but it can be lonely because if you knock with another agent, then you guys are splitting that commission down the middle.
But what I like the most about door knocking is when you get lots of rejections, I like who you become as a person. It changes your personality.
Yeah, it strengthens you.
Big time.
I mean, look, if you look at rejection, it's just like going up as a speaking engagement. If you're worried they're judging you, they don't give a shit about you. They want to hear what you have to say.
That's true.
So at the end of the day, if you can take that rejection, realize it's not personal. It's something to do with their lives, what they want or what they don't want. Take that rejection out of there. The fear goes away, and it's not about me taking a hit. It's just about this person not yet being convinced.
Not yet is the key.
Not
It's
yet.
Not yet. Not now, right, dude? It's so true.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, what does your average day look like?
So right now because of the April 1st, the ULA, we're dealing with lots of escrows. But my average day is like
Like, what's it look like? You wake up what time?
I wake up around 5:30 in the morning.
Okay, and then what's the first stuff you do?
I meditate for about 30 minutes.
Okay, and then?
And then I go to the gym, do my cold plunge, and then have my breakfast, and I start the day.
And then you start the day. Does that start with emails or prospecting?
No, it starts from checking all the new constructions.
Oh, okay.
Is the breakfast healthy?
Very healthy.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Because you cold plunge and you exercise, you meditate. I eat a sausage McMuffin after that. But
But I do think by waking up and doing all of the self-care early,
we talk a lot about that.
you put your mind in a state where you can manage objections. You can choose what we call choose your hard. You know, you're like, look, maybe the hard for anyone is going, you know what? I'm going to go walk down Faring in Bel Air and knock on intercoms.
And I got a listing on Faring.
I know. That's why I brought it up. So, you know, you choose your hard, but unless you're fueling the tank, it's your willpower actually wanes, I think, sooner than it would if you were just feeding yourself like, you know, shit in the morning.
Waking up late,
Or
having a bad breakfast,
No.
not starting reading,
Starting
or
with
meditating.
emails.
I mean, by
The
8
emails
o'clock,
are poison.
By 8
Instagram.
o'clock in the morning, I mean, I'm so sharp because I'm not just waking up. I mean, people just wake up at 8 o'clock and they're like, oh my gosh, what I'm doing. So it take about an hour or two to just be where you need to be. But I'm already there.
Yeah,
I woke
dude,
up
like
at
a machine.
5:30 this morning, and it wasn't by choice, because I don't normally. And by 8 o'clock, I was like ready for lunch. I was like, "This is a different life."
Okay, so
So you go back to where you were to start your day after your meditation, your cold plunge, your healthy breakfast, your working out. Now, what time is this, and what are you doing the rest of
So
the day?
I'm checking all the new constructions about 9 o'clock.
and you're saying you're checking them like who's pulling permits,
just
or you're driving
around,
Driving around.
different streets. And if you do it every day, you just keep expanding your farm. So go to different neighborhoods and check all the brand new constructions.
And
I
you're
ask
like,
them, because
What's the timeline?
early in the morning, that's when you see the developers. That's
Yes.
where you see the contractors.
And are you sort of walking the sites and
walking and
introducing
be like-
yourself and saying, "Hey, I have 3 buyers that are really interested in new construction. I'm just checking it out to see
Yeah.
if it's a great fit for them, and I can make you a ton of money."
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know the pitch.
Is that a version of that?
No.
Is it like that? It's
not.
What is it?
So I asked them, what's the deal of this? What's the story of this house? Is it going to be for sale or it's not?
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Yeah, like owner user
Yeah.
for spec.
And I don't want to waste my time by asking a question from a wrong person. You need
So
to
you're like, who's the jefe?
exactly. Who's the big boss?
Yes. Okay.
You want to find the big boss and then talk to that person.
Yeah, about like timeline.
Yep.
Are they going with the person that sold it to them?
Yep.
And back to why you do it so well and why you're fearless is because you have such a broad knowledge of those properties around them. So,
Correct.
you know, most people are scared. They'll say, "Oh, I got someone," or "Yeah, this house is way out of," or whatever. Yeah, but you've got the answers for it because you've got the knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like we'll talk about talking with potential prospects, not people that are already in your database. We talk about like not having commission breath and like asking for listings, but I do think that what you're doing, it's like the one place where you can really go in and be like, have you hired someone? That's like the one place, because if they say this is for spec, it's about money.
Yep.
And that's like the one place you can just make it about money and be like, we sold XYZ. Okay, so
And so are you looking to bond with them at that point?
I build
and
relationship with them.
make
and
them
I
feel
ask
like you're
them-
bringing something to the
sure.
table.
And I do share it with my clients that I meet at the open houses, or they come. They come to my listings. I also ask them, what if I sell your house off market prior to completion? Most of them, they're happy for you to represent them. And they're like, we can figure it out.
Yeah,
They
we'll
want to
figure it
sell the house, right?
Yeah, it's about
So
money.
when you show the house instead of 2 times, 10 times,
Yeah.
they're like, wow, this guy's fucking working hard.
it's
know,
hard to
it's-
tell you no.
Probably his own agent is not showing he's not showing the house.
Yeah.
I'm showing the house 10 times and they're like, oh my gosh.
Who are the people you're showing it to?
The people that I meet at the open houses, my
Yeah.
own clients, and I do have, lots of agents, they know that I door knock. So they come to me, They
what
call
do
me,
you
hey,
have?
Zach, I do have.
You have
what-
5 things that aren't yours, but
Yeah.
you have access
He's
to,
mad.
and you
Exactly.
sell them.
I'm a matchmaker.
Matchmaking.
Yes.
Mauricio talked about this the other day, and I was like, that's exactly what I do, is sometimes take these lists, and I love to kind of put them up and match me.
Yeah.
So, okay, so here for 2 years, but or 3 years or so. So presumably, as a prospector, you are forging this way and creating this database of opportunity as an opener. So I have seen your name next to a lot of titans in our space that are at our company. So how do you leverage those agents?
Sure. So I feel like, especially if you're a new agent and you don't have many sales, it's really great to have bigger agents, more experienced agents to come and help you to get the listing. So sometimes I just make an appointment and for example, I go with Santiago and we just get the listing.
So yeah, so it's like almost like you're a free agent depending on which team is appropriate, you think, or which person at that
Is
time.
the right person.
Yeah, and when I first came to the agency, I was doing the exact same thing. Like literally when I was building up. I mean, at that point, that was like 8 years ago, I think, at this point. So I totally get that.
Yeah, and you learn from them. I mean, I learned a lot from Santi by how he's closing. He's a big closer. You know, you just learn how they talk, how they negotiate. So that's something that's very valuable to me.
And also, I don't really see too much content coming from you at the moment. Is that something that's important to you as you move forward, or not so much? You just like, I'm gonna prospect.
As in
and
social
matchmake.
media?
Yeah, not too much like video or doing things that other
Sending
people that
out
are your age do.
accolades.
Sure. I feel like that's great, but I don't think it's going to give me as much business. I think having a social media presence at some point is great for credibility, but it's not going to bring me business right now for me, especially
yeah.
for the houses that I'm dealing with.
No, I know. And the thing is like Tom Ferry, he has a quote where he says, "Run the plays that work." And I think for you, running the plays that work is your play is you're just going hard prospecting. You build this database of upcoming property in a low inventory market.
Yep.
People come into your open. If the house is good for them, great. If it's not, you're like, hey, I've got all these other opportunities, and it just feels like you're the guy with the finger on the pulse of the market. So it's certainly
It's
like a great
Zach's
formula.
Zach's social media are the buyers and sellers inside. You kind of like have your own little app and network within them. That's kind of
That's
more
true.
powerful than reaching 99% of people who will never buy and sell looking at your page.
What do you wear when you're door knocking? Is this the same?
Yeah.
outfit?
So I feel like the most important thing to be successful in this business is to be likable. And because if people like you, they trust you, and if they trust you, they want to do business with you. So how can you be likable? So I try to present myself in the best way possible. So I dress up. I always wear suits, colognes, everything. A lot of them.
We talked about that when he
Before
walked
we
in.
started. You know what's
It's like,
funny
there's
is
a fresh fragrance
I
in the
started
air.
wearing cologne this year because I was inspired by James Harris. When he walks in, he's wearing like half a bottle every time.
Yeah, but he's not wearing Dracar. That's the difference. You got
Either am I.
Hugo Boss. You get a free sweater with yours.
Okay, so if someone slams a door in your face or hangs up on you, how does it affect you?
It's so funny because it happened many times, and I go back again to that person.
And what are you saying to them? You're just like, hey, it's me again.
If you
6
change
months
your
later.
mind,
Yeah.
no, in 2 months.
So like,
And then he's mad again, and then I would go back in a month, and then he's gonna laugh this time.
yeah.
He's gonna be
Right.
like, "You don't give up."
Yeah.
One of the first things that I ever got was a door knock, and literally it was in Outpost Estates, and I knocked on the door, and we had just sold, my mentor and I had just sold a place that nearby, and he's like, "Who is this?" And I said, "It's the Outpost Estates representative," and he goes, "No, it's not. And he named another agent, and I stayed on him.
Neil Baden is who he said.
He did Neil name.
Yeah.
He did name Neil. But what's funny is 3 years later, he gave me the listing. It took 3
Wow.
years. And then when it sold, I said, "Am I the Outpost Estates representative now?" And he goes, "No, Neil Baden." He still didn't give it to me.
Yeah.
So-
but by the way, that's a whole nother conversation. But that's something that I make a point. No matter how hurt your feelings are, how rejected you feel by getting crushed by something, and we all will get crushed here and there. I always keep that relationship going. I never sour it. Unless the person's a total asshole, and I
Yeah.
don't care about it. But as long as they're good people and it just something happened, I will always keep it above board, and I will always bring myself to a higher place mentally. And 9 times out of 10 that comes back in some way, shape, or form.
And I always say, what's the risk and what's the reward?
Yeah,
Risk is someone's
reward.
gonna say, slam the door. What's the reward? You might be able to make good money.
A lot of money.
A lot of
Okay,
money.
so speaking of which, you've made a lot of money in the last year and a half or so. And it sounds like you like the hunt a bit. You like the chase. Because you said before your why was you had to make it. You needed money. You came here with $5,000. You were renting a very expensive couch when you first got here. What's next for you?
So I don't think it's money right now. I think for me it's more about I love the competition, and I love to be number one.
Is that what you want to be, number one?
I will be.
Oh, you heard it here first. Can you imagine if like Junior Drew Fenton was on here like 15 years ago? Please do your Drew impersonation. Please, we'll make it a real. It's so funny how you encapsulate him with that.
That's how you start. Every impression starts with some tick
Yeah.
that gets you
I
going.
think it's all about how bad you want it.
Whoa. We just changed subjects altogether. I love your whole idea, and I love how you started, and I love that whole imposter syndrome that you were talking about earlier. You kind of remind me of like a young Will Smith in 6 Degrees of Separation. Remember? You kind of bullshit your way in the beginning while you're learning everything, and then all of a sudden, when they're about to catch you,
It's
you
not
know
6
it all.
degrees
and
of
you're in.
separation.
Yeah, I thought it made. That's a Kevin Bacon.
It's the happiness,
No, it's 6 Degrees of Separation. A Will Smith movie.
it's the pursuit of happiness.
That's years before this, okay? Where it was with Donald Sutherland and Will Smith.
Oh, okay.
Where he plays like the adopted kid who comes. Is this too obscure for you guys?
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm going to post in the link.
So I want to say one other thing. What advice do you have for agents that are new in the game and they want to attempt to achieve some version of the meteoric rise that you've had?
So I would say the most important thing is to just focus on knowing your shit. You have to know your market. You have to just study the market as much as you can. That's the most important thing. And just be out there. Just don't sit in the office. You're not going to make money by sitting in the office.
You know what's funny is if you ask James Harris, also not from here, I think by his accent, if you ask John Grauman, and if you now ask Zac here, they all at the high end, and I know you would say this too, not to speak for you. So the fourth data point here, if you want to sell in the high end, you gotta know the market.
You got to know people that haven't sold for 30 years.
Yeah,
you
Blair
gotta
Chang would say
know
the same
what
too.
people do, who they are, people they know. Because wealthy people, the wealthier it seems like you get, the more industrious you get. You know, those people, like if you want to buy a property, they know 9 people tied to that property. So you better know 10.
Yeah, and I think you've just corroborated this as someone who's younger in the business, relatively speaking, to these old farts I was just referencing. But Blair Chang would say the exact same thing. So, do you have any other questions for Zac before we take it out here?
Do you have a life outside of just this prospecting and destroying,
He
seek
looks
and
well
destroy? Well, it's a cold plunge. It's fooling
You and I
everyone.
look like shit.
Well, we're much older. Are you kidding? We've been through it all.
I do. So besides gym, I love playing tennis and I love singing, playing guitar, going to the new restaurants all the time.
So that's how your night ends. Out in a
Yeah.
restaurant with friends, clients.
With friends, I love hanging out.
Do you mix
meeting?
business and personal?
Sometimes I do.
Yeah. Some people are hard.
I
fast
love
on
my
one or the
friends. I love my clients to be my friends.
other. Yeah. Nice.
I
Yeah,
hang out with them and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, actually, right before we came in here, and we won't mention this A-list celebrity's assistant who called. They called you, and like I would have been like, "Yes, you know," and you were just like, "Yes, queen," you know.
Like, sorry,
so-
I cannot talk. I am shooting a podcast. Okay.
Yeah. But I just what I saw in that moment was yes, you like to befriend and be closer with these people, but more importantly, that you are bold enough to do that and not just be.
Not transactional.
Yes, you're bold enough to do that, and I think it's such an important piece.
Human connection, yeah.
Yeah, and you are another example of someone who's like incredibly bold with the part of your character and the things you like and the things that are important to you. with all the people that know you. And I think I've seen in all your friends and family how much they love you. And I think it's because you're bold enough to be your authentic self. And I was seeing him do it the same way outside.
Yeah. There's nothing that has empowered me more in my life than being my authentic self. It's just like you can't lose that way because people, all of a sudden, no matter what you say or do, they respect you when you're authentic.
Yeah, your vibe attracts your tribe for sure too, and it sounds like you're doing it too. Zac, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I am not embarrassed to say I envy all of your success. I hope to achieve it too someday.
He has been scratching his pants, creating a hole in it. He's so angry, but he's also appreciative.
Yeah,
like I am too. I think I am always amazed when someone so much younger with so much less experience in the business can inspire me so much, and you have here today, just meeting you for the last hour. So I'm psyched to be on this journey together, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, Zac, congratulations, and keep your eyes out, guys, for you heard it here first, the future #1. Where can they find you online?
You can just search Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram, what is
Zac Mostame?
Okay, and I'm at Ben Bellac, seated next to
At Zac Goldsmith 24, and we are out. Super bien.